Okay, I'm having problems, basically. This phone will not switch round to landscape. It's stuck on portrait and I can't seem to change it, and I'm past my time where I'm supposed to start. So I'm quite honestly, I'm just going to leave it as it is because I'm fed up with messing about with it. Last time we tried this, it worked fine. What have I done in between? Absolutely nothing. So I don't know how I'm going to do this now. We should be able to see. It just keeps saying orientation is locked. Rotate device back. It will not film if I'm not that way round. Now we should be able to turn this to get back that way round. But I'm not quite sure how. I'm not quite sure this. I'm not quite sure this will actually do that. Something like that. I hate gadgets when they won't play ball. When they worked last time you used them, and then you switch them on again, you haven't touched anything in between, and they've decided to do it differently. I get so cross. Now that says rotate back when I'm actually portrait. So now what's wrong with it then? It's round the right way now. Oh, it's probably upside down now, isn't it? Let's have a look. Yes, it's upside down. Right, I will take the phone out and put it up the other way. So that should be that way, shouldn't it? This was all working fine when we tried it last time. I get so annoyed when things change when you're not looking at them. Right, I presume that's working. I have no way of telling. But what I can do is come over here.
Don't buy another pair of glasses until you've seen what this new invention can do. These self-adjustable...
Right. Is that the video of me? So I'm just waiting for the laptop to catch up. I think it is. Yeah, I think we're okay. Right, we've got comments coming in left, right and centre. Okay, this video is the wrong way round. I will look at that at a later date. Now we're going to have problems because I'm going to have to silence the laptop. Otherwise the video that's recording on the phone will pick up the sound on the laptop and we'll get an echo. Last time I tried this was all fine. Right. Right, I assume it's all working. I can only make an assumption. It's all good now, Roger. You're in TikTok mode. I don't even know what TikTok is. Well, I do, but I don't go anywhere near it. For once, I actually follow the American view that it's Chinese and it's up to no good that we can't see. Right, now we're there. Now, what we've got to do now, I've got a twin screen here. I've got a screen showing the video that I'm currently recording with the comments coming in. So we'll just have a quick look at those before I start on the questions and answers. There's a slight delay. Incy, I'm first, so you're awake then. Good stuff, thanks mate. I've got a good morning. Hi Roger, you're upside down now. Yeah, I like hanging, I'm a bat. At night, I'm a bat, I hang from my feet. Good morning, now you're sideways, now you're upside down. There you are. Obviously people were having a little bit of fun while I was getting ratty. Now, the first thing I need to do is I'm going to have a slight pause because I poured a glass of wine out about half an hour ago and I can't see it out here. So if it's not out here, it must still be in here. Where the hell is it? No point in pouring it out if you're not actually going to have it with you, is there? No point at all. Right, bearing in mind I haven't had hardly any wine for a while because I've been out all day and been so cream crackered when I got back. Right, so we've got hi, looks good. Actually, yes, just took a nap. Okay, so the comments are coming in, so it's obviously live, it's obviously working. Let's get back to the matter in hand. Sunday chat combined with answers to the questions. As far as the Sunday chat is concerned, there isn't a lot of news as such, apart from the fact the Malvern show that I've just been to is the last show for a very long time. So in theory, the couple of orchids I came back with are the last new orchids for some considerable time, because the next two shows that I will be going to as far as orchids is concerned are the Orchid Society shows. And the sellers there don't normally have much that I want, so that's that. Let me just twist that around a bit. Am I in the middle now? Yeah, somewhere near it. Right, first things first, get the wine. Yes, somebody agrees with me. Some people actually don't like this. They think it's wrong that I should have a sip of wine while I'm filming. Well, anybody that knows the channel well, I've often got the glass there, but you very rarely see me drink any of it while I'm filming, because it means I have to stop talking. But we'll do a bit now. I've opened a nice bottle of red because in a minute I'm going to have my first meal for a while, because I've been out and all about, and we're going to have steak, fries and sweet corn and a nice French red. So that's for in a minute. So this isn't going to go on too long because that's now looming. Right, let's get down to these questions then. Some of these are very short answers, and I will try and keep my eye on the comments coming in to the live stream. But the most important things is the subject matter, which is dealing with the answers to the questions that you good people have put out there. Right, Natalie Portman's here. Ooh, good stuff. Right, hi Roger. This channel is not Natalie Portman, it's my dyslexics thing that reads it like that. It's Nari Pittman 4632. I will apologise for the channel names because YouTube changed the actual channel name to the, I think it's the URL, or they changed something. And a lot of people's channel names don't look right on the comments, or they don't to me anyway, but I'm reading it out as I see it. Right, Paphiopedilums, what light do you have yours in? I was on the understanding that they are a low light orchid. Thank you. Any other growing tips? Thank you. Marie, aka Natalie Portman. Jolly good. You doing another Star Wars? Perhaps. Another V for Vendetta? Props. Right, Paphiopedilums. I don't know a huge amount about them. You have to go in mind, this goes with the book, my book theory. When a book says shady, it's probably talking about in the place where they come from, the tropics. In comparison to me in the UK, the light levels I get, what they say is shady is probably medium to bright. So I don't keep mine in heavy shade. I haven't actually got heavy shade in this grow space. Since I changed my environment, there is no heavy shade. Even a lower shelf here is still quite bright compared with the other place. What it hasn't got is sun coming in through the glass. That's gone. So I keep mine in what I call medium to bright light. And I used to grow them and they never did very well at all, so I got rid of them. They went to other people, those that didn't die. Now I have I think I have three now. Two or three, I think. And at the moment they seem to be doing okay. And they are on a top shelf at the back of the grow room. So that doesn't get any of that extra light that comes in from the sun through the roof during that sort of 10 to 12 week period when the sun comes over the house. So for me, they are still in medium to bright light, but it's not intense light. Growing tips for these? Well, it says in the books, water weekly. I hate that expression. If you are in the middle of winter and your temperatures are quite low and you have just watered weekly, in a week's time, your media could still be soaking wet and you're going to water it again with feed in it? just use a bit of logic here. It's all geared up to temperatures and environments. Don't water Paphiopedilums heavily. Keep them moist, and as they err towards dryness, well, that's a vague expression, perhaps give them some more. But they don't need strong feed. Avoid that. The roots burn quite easily. So that's that one. That's a long time spent on one question. I hope there's some one-worders, or my tea's going to be late. Right, what's going on in the channel? It's your channel. Do whatever you like. That's going to happen whether you say so or not. Hi from lots of people, and lots of people in there saying hi to each other. That's what live chat's all about, quite honestly. It's not saying hi to me. It's saying hi to the people that you also, if you are a channel owner, a creator, then you've got your own set of people, yeah? And some of those people cross-reference across other channels. So it's nice to say hi to the people that, leave comments on your channel. I like all that. It's good stuff. We're supposedly a community. I love the wine. If it wasn't morning here, I'd be joining here. There is a specific time of day called wine o'clock. And it depends who you are, what the weather's doing, and what you've got to do next. Because it can't be wine o'clock if the next thing you've got to do is drive 100 miles. But it can be wine o'clock if the next thing you're going to do is settle down in this chair for the evening and watch a bit of TV. Wine o'clock is subjective, but it is a specific time of day. Right, hi, people saying hi to each other. Back to the questions. Right, so I've only done one. We're going to be here all night. Hello, Roger. This is Wanda Shaw and, oh, cool. 3551. They've all seemed to have a number on the end nowadays. Hello, Roger. I was wondering how you can tell the age of your orchids. I've heard that you can determine by the leaf cane numbers. Thank you. That's a yes and no answer. Some orchids have a progression of one new growth, you call it what you like, be it a cane, be it a pseudobulb, per year. That matures, it does its thing, it flowers at its specific time, it does its roots, and then it repeats on an annual cycle. Others, more into the hybrids, are more vigorous than that. So you get a division that's got like a back bulb and a new growth. And the new growth matures and another new growth forms. When that one matures, it then grows two. And each of those can grow one or two more. So the ability to do the aging process is shot to pieces. In those that grow a growth per year and mature it and bloom it if it's at that, that age, then you can count them and say, it's like rings on a tree, 1, 2, 3, 4, that's a 6-year-old plant. But most orchids don't really behave in such a way that you can do that. So that's that one, right. Who's next then? And Besotted Orchids 3605. My Miltonia is climbing, as they do. That's in there, that's what it says. Should it be misted regularly to preserve root growth? Quite honestly, I have found the best thing to do with climbing orchids, those that the rhizome progresses and lifts. And as it lifts, the new roots come out into air. I find the best way to get them down into the media, providing they're not over the edge of the pot, is to put moss underneath them or some sort of media so that those roots are in something. Now, it might be like a little pile in that area, but it allows the roots to get into something. They will then become more vigorous and get down into the real media, the stuff that you put there in the first place. Right, what's happening over this side of the screen? This is multitasking at its best here. I've got to look at this because this is you good people, this is the interaction. I've got to look over here at the comments coming in against this actual video. I feed when I don't forget. That's actually a better way than feeding progressively on a regular basis with more feed than you need. When I remember I put some feed in. Don't put too much feed in. The sun is over the yard arm someplace in a world, and that is all the justification. That's back to the wine again, wine o'clock. Right, first things first, get the wine. Look, this is supposed to be about orchids, not wine. As long as we don't start actually whining, as long as it's just the liquid stuff in there, we'll be fine. Happy Father's Day. Now that's a nice touch, because under normal circumstances I'd be spending Father's Day in some shape or form, if not on the day, with Hannah. And that hasn't worked out this year. When I got home from my archery course yesterday, perched on top of my mailbox, which is outside the security gate, so effectively on the street, is a box. Cheers, Postman Pat. Anybody could have walked off with that. Anyway, I got it inside. I thought, what the hell's this? And I opened it up, and it was a nice card from Hannah, Happy Father's Day, and a box of chocolates, Ferrero Rocher, one of my favourites. Now, had that been a sunny day, that box would have been in full sun. As it happens, it wasn't, so they weren't all melted down into the bottom of the box. But yeah, it is actually Father's Day today. Well, we've got one son that won't ever be wishing me Happy Father's Day again, and one that forgets anyway, so Hannah's the one. She's always the one. Right, where are we then? At least somebody else thought about Father's Day. So that was the age of the orchids. What have we got next then? We've done that. Besotted orchids. Michael Peace 1201. How many countries do your orchids come from? You serious? Well, I'm not going to put a number on it, but I will go. Let's have a look at the genera. Well, we've got Brassicas, Oncidium types, Odontoglossums. They come as a set. Yeah? Now, they're South America, North South America. So Brazil, Peru, Venezuela, that lot up into the narrow bit, up as far as Mexico. Yeah? And in amongst those are Cattleyas and Lalias. That's their place. There is a theory that once upon a time there was a big lump of land and it all split up. And the dendrobiums went east and everything else went west. Believe what you like. So basically I have examples of orchids that come from those areas. Then you come across to Africa. The only orchid I've probably got from that environment is my Arengus, and I'm not quite sure whether that's Africa or endemic to Madagascar, but there's that set. Then you come across to India and over, and I have a fair few from there, Dendrobiums and others, Coelogenes, there's quite a few that come from there. So from foothills of the Himalayas, you can go across to southern China, and then everything south of that. So, like you've got Thailand, Laos, Malaysia, the Philippines, down into that pointy bit on Australia, down through Queensland. Yeah? So all that lot. And I'm not going to count them, but that's where most of the tropical orchids come from, those areas. Right, what is your opinion on Cypripedium, Blatilia, Calanthe? These are dirt orchids. We don't do dirt orchids in here. I have a little bit of a banter going with somebody at, it's Orchid Society I'm no longer a member of, in Bournemouth. And he used to say, I don't have anything to do with those monkey orchids swinging around in the trees. I grow proper orchids. And I used to go, I grow proper orchids that live in the trees, and I don't get involved with the dirt orchids, as I call them. So I have none of these. I won't say I have no plans of getting them, but the closest I've got is one of our native species of orchids, which is a leopard marsh orchid, which is in a pot outside. Hey, currently getting rained on. When did that start? I missed that. It's light rain. We need rain, or I need rain. I'm sure some people are thinking, I'm on holiday, I don't want rain. Right, let's just have a look at the comments. The sun is out there. Oh, we haven't got too much coming in. Jolly good. Yes, so where did we get to? Yes, my opinion of those orchids is that if you decide to grow them in the garden, you take a risk, because some of them are frost hardy, some of them are not, but they don't tell you, and some will not take a fair bit into the negative temperatures centigrade. And if you think of the winter I've just had, I had -7, -8 on many consecutive days, and the daytime, the ground was frozen. So the sort of rhizomes or bulbs, whatever you call them, that were in the ground of those orchids were frozen solid. Now, some will take that, some won't. I have none of those, and at the moment I have no intention of getting any. But I will say that Pleonies, having been to the Mathers Foundation and seen the collection, there's some very attractive blooms in amongst those. Tempted? Not yet. Right, where are we now then? Right, Todd's Tropicals. Since I've been watching an eternity, yeah, it does seem like that. Likewise, you know, it's reciprocal. It seems I did my homework ages ago and you're exactly 5 hours ahead of us. So we haven't actually got a question now. Cheers, Todd. Always welcome. Looking forward to your upcoming chat. That's not a question, it's a statement. Hi, mate. Oh, hang on, if it's a genuine question, I need to say who it is. This is Frederick G77. Hi, mate. Will you be getting more Cattleya types and why? Simple answer is no, with a but. There are some Laelia types that have attractive blooms that are classed as cool growers. If I come across some, once I've worked out what they are, then yes, I will. The Cattleyas I've got remaining, which is not that many, seem to be hanging in there. We shall see. Right, is there a right or wrong time of... Oh, hang on. This is Trish Bronk. Oh, I need some new glasses. I really do. Waiting. So I'm just having a quick look at the other comments over here now. People saying hi to each other and stuff like that. Waiting for rain here. Yeah, well, I've been... We're into our 5th week of virtually zero rain now. And I'm on a water meter now for the first time in my life ever, and I'm having to go round with a hose, and I hate to think what that's doing to the bill. I haven't found out yet. But so far, I pay my direct debit amount, and every time, 6 monthly bills with the water, every time it comes in, I'm in credit. So we should be okay. We've been storing it up, ready for this period of drought, basically. Pain in the whatnot. Right, is there a, where were we? Trish Bronk. Is there a right or wrong time of year to separate a kiki with good roots from the mother Vanda? It's Vanda specific here, not just kikis in general. Should I wait till fall or does it matter? It's a healthy plant. Thanks for your input. Right, kikis on Vandas with roots can come off whenever you flipping like. But you've got to think of the new plant that you're creating. What is its growing season at your environment, in your, wherever you are in whatever part of the world, yeah? What is its main growing season? And at the beginning of that would be the absolute best time. But quite honestly, a kiki that's got roots on it can come off whenever you flipping like. But it will do better if it comes off at the time of year, at a period when it's the mother plant is in good growth, because that will give the kiki the best chance to get going. Right, so that's that one. That should have been difficult, but it wasn't. Oh, blimey, we've gone out. Right, and this is a read more. Oh, it's a flipping essay. Right, this is going to take a while. Take a while to read it. Right. This is Kevin Mayers 5680. Where I live, my only option is mail order orchids, you and many others. There are many that can't get to any form of nursery or show. Even in the UK, which is like only that big, you know, it's only that big from top to bottom. But still, there are people that can't get to those sort of things. Where are we? I've had mostly good experiences. However, after a rather bad one, I changed up my process. Now I pot a complete spray for pests with Organ Shield. I don't know what that is. It's not from this country. First, as a soak in water that has kelp additive. I'm considering adding CalMag to this soak too. I then trim the dead roots and pot in a mix of good quality sphagnum moss and bark mix specific to the orchid type. Good. Doesn't all go in the same stuff, does it? I then spray with Physan 20. I know it's a lot of stress on the plants, but other than stress, do you find this overkill or a decent practice? P.S. You and your family are still present in my thoughts and hoping you are surrounded with much love. Thank you for that. Those thoughts are still important. We've still got to do the funeral on Thursday this week, and I am not looking forward to that. Don't get sidetracked. Set me off. Right, that is an elaborate process. I can't knock it. I certainly wouldn't do it myself because there would be a bother factor and I probably couldn't be. But nonetheless, the precautions you take for your newly introduced orchids will probably pay dividends in as much as you're not going to jeopardize the orchids you've already got with diseases and pests and all that sort of stuff. And you're giving your orchid the best chance. Many orchids arrive in, I was just going to say crap media, but we can't say that when we're live, can we? So we'll have to say rubbish media. I've already said it. Duh. They arrive in crap media, basically. They've often been mistreated, underwatered, overwatered, and you're getting a plant that's not in the best state. So anything you can do to revive it and de-stress it, there's got to be a bonus. It's got to be. But that will vary depending on where you are and, of course, what the plant is. I've been waiting for this one because I read these earlier. Sandra Goodson, 1892. I have a Stardust Firebird. I'd like to say, well, silly you. Well, I've tried 2 of them. That grew many kikis, that's what they do. It's the absolute kiki machine, that thing. Is there any way I can get these kikis to grow roots, like maybe hormone? Right now, they're just growing on the side of the canes, making... hang on, we need read more here somewhere, don't we? Making the plant look untidy. The Stardust Firebird, it's classed as a nobly type. It's not really. It's got other stuff in it. I think it's got unicum in it. But whatever it's got in it, it's got DNA conflict going on. And that conflict puts the plant under a stress that it thinks it's going to die. So it chucks out kikis, the idea being that kikis break off and fall down and start growing, in theory. So it's just one of those plants that does that. There's nothing you can do about it, quite honestly. There is a trick. I've yet to find it, and I haven't got any anymore, so I don't need to find it. But somewhere there is an environmental setting that will make that plant happy and bloom its head off. Now, that could be, it needs to be a lot cooler. It could need to be drier. It could need a drier atmosphere, humidity. It could need higher. Could need brighter light, could need duller light. I never found it when I had one, so if you ever find it, let me know. They are a kiki machine. If you don't want the kikis on there and they haven't got roots, just take them off. If you want them to grow roots, to propagate, then I've always found the best thing to do with kikis is just put a little bit of moss around the base and just sort of tie it on. And then keep that relatively moist, not soggy, and they should push out roots. Right, next question doesn't... Oh, I was just going to say, I will miss the live broadcast. Bummer. Are we allowed to say that? Well, I've said it now. Let's just have a quick look over here. How is the new guitar? Now you're stirring up a hornet's nest. The music room is now complete, except for one item. I need a rug, so that I can put a chair down and not mark the floor, because it's got laminate wooden floor and sort of stuff, so I can't have a chair with wheels whizzing around. But the music room is actually complete. It's all wired up, all the instruments are in there. I deleted all the software I had because I had a load of junk taking up a load of space. So when I get round to wanting to record something, I will reintroduce the software that I need. Which is basically a mixer, something that can multi-track. I'll find something, freebie of course. Don't pay for anything if we don't have to. But the music room is good. You know, we have the electronic drum kit, so I can beat the hell out of it without waking the neighbours. Headphones jobby. I've got my nice Fender guitar, I've got my bass guitar, I've got my acoustic guitar, and I've got my keyboards. I have everything I need. The only thing I haven't got is the will, which has yet to come. It will come one day. I'm going to get one of those days where I think, I'm going to have a go in that music room, and then I'll think, oh, blast, I deleted all the software, didn't I? Well, let's see if we can find some software, and then I'll get so bored doing all that, I won't actually go. We'll get there one day. We will do that one day. But the new guitar is actually beautiful. And so is the drum kit. I can sit on that and beat the hell out of it, and it makes hardly any noise. It sort of goes... In here, it's doing it, you know. Right. Happy Father's Day, and happy Father's Day to all fathers. That's a nice comment. Right, where did we get to? Right. It was Gabrielle 9721. I will miss the live broadcast. Still have a question though. Well, that's allowed. You don't have to be here. You'll still see the answers under the video in normal YouTube mode. What are your favourite orchids and why? I know there could be many criteria, but maybe you could imagine starting over your collection from scratch. My favourite orchids have had to change, because my favourite orchids were those that did really well in the environment I had. Well, now I haven't got that environment, I've got a different one. So I've had to adjust. It's no good having a favourite orchid if you can't grow it. Well, I suppose you could, but you know, I'd rather have the thing, you know. It's difficult to say. I loved my cattleyas in the other place, but we messed them up, lost a lot of them, and only have a few left. You know I like my dendrobiums. I like the variety. I like the variety of plant type, shape, environments that they come from, bloom sizes, shapes, colours, fragrances. But my criteria for selection, which I let go, I can't always stick to it, would be easy to grow in my environment, produces blooms that last a long time, are attractive, and are fragrant. So those criteria would be where I would start if I had to start from scratch. Let's find some fragrant orchids with long-lasting blooms that will grow in this environment. Simples. Looking forward to the music video when it comes. For goodness sake, don't hold your breath. It's probably going to be a winter thing, you know, when there's not much to do out here. I said that last year, but then I ended up with more to do out here because I had problems, obviously. Right, next, let's go up this side then. Right. Gloria Bishkoff, I think that's pronounced, 13 on the end. Hi Roger, I have 2 Dendrobium nobili. We've all probably got a couple. They flowered beautifully. Well done you. Now one is pushing up a new cane, but it also has 2 kikis on an older cane. Same with Dendrobium number 2. Should I remove the kikis, and if so, when? I'm losing the bottom half of the... I'm looking... Let me just see if I can move the... screens across. I'm losing some of the comments. I'm just going to see if I can make this split screen a bit bigger and see if they pop up. Not happy. So I can't go too far on the right hand side or I lose the comments on the live broadcast. Now they seem to scroll up. They're okay. Expand that one. That's better. Right. We're still losing the bottom end of some of these though. Right, if so when? All kikis have robust root growth. Thank you for any input. I'm very new to orchids and appreciate all your knowledge. By the way, I live in southwest Florida and the orchids are outside getting morning sun and plenty of... Well, lucky you. I'm not jealous because you get the bugs, you get the hurricanes, you get all sorts of stuff that I don't get, but then you do get the bonus of fresh air. Right. Should I remove these kikis is the basis of the question. The answer is, if you want to. They don't do any harm to the main plant. They will eventually grow the same sort of size as the canes on the main plant and will bloom if you leave them there long enough. I think they make the plants look a little bit untidy, so my personal preference is to take them off. And the beauty of that is you start new plants that are an exact copy of the plant you took them off. No variables, yeah? And as such, you've got things to swap with friends, you know, or take to your orchid society and, you know. But anyway, the kikis come off with roots. Don't take them off without roots. They don't do so well. They'll stall for a year, sometimes 2 years, and just sit there looking at you, laughing. But yeah, kikis with roots can come off when you see fit. The best time is still when the mother plant is in active growth, because that means the kikis' logic, their DNA is geared up to growing at that time of year. So, oh, I've been dreading this one. It's an expression that's not mine for a start. Right, this is Carom.6504. My expression, feed and water well. I understand the concept, but I'm very weary of it. Well, don't listen then. Basically, I'm to water when the media is still wet, or do I water a little bit more frequently? You're missing the context a lot of the time here. But that is not feed and water well. You mentioned one nursery waters their plants 5 times a day. Yeah, that's a specific example. Those are giant cymbidiums being grown specifically for bloom spikes to take off and put each bloom in an individual box to sell. That's not normal. That's not normal growth. And they are in an environment where if they don't get that food, they'll produce less blooms. This is not normal stuff. They're an example of something that I've given. Yeah? So you need to try and step back and think, is this the general stuff? Or is this a one-off for a specific, if you see what I mean? Right, is the yeah, and that 5 times a day, is the location scorching hot? No, they're just pumping them up, butcher's dog, yeah? The media must not have time to dry between waters. I don't want to inadvertently. You've basically got to look at feed and water well is an expression that there are times of year when plants get a trickle of water and no feed. There are times of year when they need to feed because they're in active growth. And when they're in active growth, they will take on board more water and feed. That's the feed and water well bit. It's geared up to the growing season, the type of plant, and what it's doing. Yeah, so it's not a general expression. You can't use it as a general expression. You have to appreciate the context in which I'm saying it, if you see what I mean. And that goes with the feed weekly. That's the same sort of expression, apart from I won't use the other one, but I will use this one. Right, Monica Gabby 5497. I will try and connect with a live session. It will be great. How can you tell that in advance? It might be total rubbish. Just have a quick look over here. Oh, so somebody's actually heard the answer live and actually said thank you in the comments. Cool, this is interactive. That caught me out. Incy, took me a year to get comfortable with feeding. Some people never get comfortable with feeding. They're never sure, is this too much? Is this too little? Is it too often? Is it not often enough? What type of orchid are we talking about? It is a complicated subject, there's no doubt about it. You have to bear in mind there are some orchids that can make do with so little food. You worry that you're not giving them any. I mean, a guy I knew that grew mostly Masdevallias, and when I asked him how often he feeds, he said, you know, I can't remember the last time I fed my orchids. A couple of times a year, I think, really low feed level. And he had nice Masdevallias. Others feed more often, more frequently. They've got nice Masdevallias. It's a strange subject. Right, where do we get to? Monica Gabay. Right, I have a question. Most of my orchids live outside on my window grills and shelving. I usually have time to water everything either in the weekends or the evenings after work, as it takes me over 2 hours. You need a hose pipe to do the job. In the summer, this is not a problem. However, in the winter, temperatures drop a lot. Should I water them in the evening anyway, even if we may go down to 3 to 5 degrees C on occasion? Or is it better to water them? Right, firstly, I'm going to back off. I won't finish reading that. If your temperatures are low, always, if you can, water early in the day, so that airflow and all that sort of stuff will make sure there isn't any water left on the plants when you go into the cold temperatures at night. Because there's not many places that are 5 degrees during the day and 5 degrees at night. If it's 5 degrees at night, it's probably going to come up during the day, and that gives a chance for water to evaporate off the plants. Try and think of it as that if they're going to go into low temperatures, they should be as dry as they can be. So I always think that the best time to water is in the morning. Now, if you're in a hot atmosphere that's not very humid, you might want to water in the morning and in the evening, but it is subjective to the environment you're in. Anyway, where did we get to? Right, have a quick look over here. Big grinning face from Insa. Right, where have we got to now? Newman Mansell 760. My question, Roger, is what do you make your water pH right for watering, and why does our growing media become sour and inhospitable for orchids, even when a lot of orchids in their natural habitat growing rotting material and rotting trees? I back away from that. Most epiphytic orchids are not growing on rotting trees, they're growing on live trees, and as such the only decomposition that's going on around them is from the leaves from the trees and any other plants that might be growing as epiphytics on that tree. The main thing that epiphytes are growing in is the moss, and in amongst the roots of other plants like bromeliads and things like that. They're not really growing in a rotting environment. We provide bark for our orchids. Our bark has been taken off the tree and it's dead, and it will rot like any other wood that is separated from a live environment. The bark on a live tree does not rot. It's a living organism. It's a totally different environment. So our media becomes sour and inhospitable because it's been taken away from its plant. It's no longer live, therefore it's dying. Therefore it becomes sour and it's decomposing. It takes all the oxygen out of the flipping media, and it will deprive your orchids of nutrients by taking them away for the decomposition process. Yeah, but pH, at the end of the day, most of our orchids that we're talking about are tropical orchids. There's a lot of rain going on, yeah? And if you get rain every day, it doesn't matter what the orchid is growing in, it will be washed clean with clean, shiny rainwater each day. And that's the main difference between in the wild and in cultivation. We water a plant with our so-called fresh, clean rainwater. It could be no feed in it, just rainwater, lovely. But it's going to sit in that media that is dying. That's not the same as the environment that those orchids are growing in. That's the main difference. We provide an environment that is subjective to dying and decay. Where they grow in the wild, that's not necessarily true. Right, where are we now? I love this channel name. It's been around a long time on my channel. It's Will Air at 26A Toady. I'm sure there's some meaning behind that, but I don't need to know. Right, too early for me here. I could work out where that might be then, but I won't. I've got a headache. But wishing you and everyone who joins a successful and fun session. Thanks a bunch. I have 2 questions, but I'm happy if you even answer one. If you remember correctly, you do not have any Telumnias anymore. Do you think you will try them again? No, simple answer. The reason they failed was they can't take the cold. So as I can't change that much now, they're an orchid that I loved and I had some beauties. Some got given away, the others just rotted. They just rotted away, they couldn't take the cold. They come from the Caribbean basin, you know, islands and surrounding coastline. That's where people go on holiday to get a tan, you know. So I haven't got the right environment. So simple answer to that is unfortunately no, because I do like those a lot. Right. Same person. I have just bought a Dendrobium lindleyi. It is average 10 degrees at night, 21 day time here. The bulbs look a bit shriveled. Would you treat it as you mentioned? Oh, it's another one that's been truncated. See if I can twist over again. Some of them have got reed more and others just get chopped off. YouTube. Software. Techies. The bulbs look a bit shriveled. Would you treat it as you have mentioned in a recent video or feed and water as required in conjunction with the temperatures? 21 daytime temperature for that orchid is quite low. Yeah? So it's probably not going to grow as well as it could do if it was up between 25 and 28, which is more like what it ought to get. It's a species you can relate to where it grows in the wild. So I would say it's growing a bit cool, which means it's going to grow slow. If it's going to grow slow, careful not to overwater, and until you've got good, strong, active growth, if you ever get them, don't feed heavily. Only feed orchids heavily if you can see stonking stuff coming out all over the place. Otherwise, feed light. Right, where do we get to now? KG Graves 9815. How far ahead do you water your orchids before repotting? I take no notice whatsoever. I water on a cycle depending on the number of days gap and the environment. So if it's warmer, that gap gets smaller. If it's colder, it gets bigger. And it's a cycle for my sets of plants, cooler, shadier, mounted, holy clay pots, ordinary pots, etc. Yeah, and I take no notice. If a plant's going to get repotted, it gets repotted when I get round to do it. I may have watered it 5 days ago. I may have watered it the day before. I take no notice. I just get on and do it, basically. Right, next one, Trish Bronk. Will we be able to live chat on Sunday and ask questions? Well, you can certainly live chat, but if you ask questions, I'll probably miss them because they're whizzing up on the other screen. I've got a split screen going on here, and they're whizzing up there so quick that, you know, I got a job to see them basically. So you can ask questions over there. I'll say this: if you ask questions on the chat of the live stream, I'm probably going to miss them. But when this video is loaded onto YouTube as a normal video, which will happen eventually, I will go through the chat and see if there are any questions. And if there are, I'll answer them against, you know, those questions. So you won't get ignored, basically. Right, next one, Big Box Orchids 5770. Would love to join the live chat, but it will be 12 AM Monday for me. That must be very far in the east then. Anyway, my question is, what growth requirement for Laelia anceps? Oh, a nice easy question, so we'll have a bit of wine. See, all that time I haven't touched that. So people who say that I'm drinking too much on YouTube, it's not true, is it? Really, it's there. I'm not touching it much. Right, there's a story behind Laelia anceps for me. taught me a lesson. It used to be, in the old, let's go back to the old environment, inlet and extract fan and all that sort of stuff. I read somewhere that it's a cooler grower compared with a lot of other Cattleya types. So what I did was I put it down near the floor, quite close to the inlet fan, which used to draw in cooler air to try and keep the place cool. Brilliant idea, it's a cooler grower, let's get some nice cooler airflow against the plant. Did it bloom? Did it hell? We changed one environmental factor and forgot the more important one. It needs bright light. And down there on the floor, it didn't bloom. Grew a nice couple of new growths, but it didn't bloom. So Laelia anceps is classed as a cooler grower compared with other Cattleya types. That doesn't mean freeze its whatnots off. It's not a cold grower, it's a cooler grower. So it doesn't need the higher heat levels during the day to actively grow. And it can tolerate lower temperatures at night. It'll also grow fine with the rest of your Cattleyas. But if you want it to bloom nicely, it's the light that's the important factor. And I found that out the hard way. So cooler grower, it effectively has I won't call it a rest, I'll call it a quiet period, because it will put on its new growth, push some new roots out with those, and then you'll get your spike, you know, and you put it on the floor and the spike goes up to the roof and then the blooms form and they are gorgeous. That is still the one orchid that stopped me in my tracks and still does. I was at a show and I turned a corner and there was a Laelia anceps buried in amongst the other plants with the spike coming up over the top and the blooms like here looking at me. And I was sold. I thought I have to have that. I have to have that in my grow space. And that still has the same effect, even now, after all these years. So a little bit cooler than other Cattleya types. Don't lose your light trying to achieve that, though. The light's important. Right, where we get to? We're up to Orchid Hospice. Actually, I love that name. It just... So I was just thinking of, you know, lots of sort of orchids in wheelchairs with their leg up in the air. Orchid Hospice, a place where orchids are rescued, I assume. That's tickled me. Right, during cold and dry weather, now that's a novelty because we very rarely get that in this country. We get cold weather in the winter time. That's also when we get a lot of wet and the snow and all that sort of stuff. So we don't tend to get cold and dry. It's not an environment I know much about. Right. Is there any way to keep humidity up, but just below that which causes windows to fog up? It happens every winter. I have to turn on the heating, but I can't keep the humidity above like 55% without it causing condensation. And I can't afford mould. That sounds like an indoor environment to me, but I'm guessing, obviously, because I wasn't told. Right, you've got a problem. In the winter, when stuff's not growing that much, you don't need high humidity, so don't worry too much about it. If stuff's not growing much, it doesn't really matter that much. And if you push the humidity up too high in those cold environments, you'll cause rot on the plants, let alone the mould. If you want to keep your humidity down, get a dehumidifier and set it at a setting which, when the humidity gets up to a certain level, the cold on the glass will form the condensation. You just keep it a bit below that. But then you'll get an extra cold day outside and your setting will be wrong. It's not an exact science. Now in here, last winter I dealt with it. The winter before, when I moved in, I completely messed that up. And I had humidity every night at 100 degrees. And I came in here in the morning and everything was dripping wet. It was dripping off the roof, running down the glass. Far too much humidity. That's an environment for pathogens and rot. Yeah? And the reason being, in the wild, you might get 100% humidity and you might get rain and mist and fog, but what you don't get is still static air that's not fresh. That's why we mess up. So, yeah, maybe a dehumidifier is your answer. Right. Insa, he's got a brilliant question. Absolutely brilliant. I'll read it out. Can't think of a silly question. He's a character, isn't he? We need those. We need characters. Don't get me wrong. Right, what else? I'm just having a look at the chat on the live video now because I've been neglecting that a bit. Can you give your thoughts on springtails? As a direct question. Forget them. They annoy you. Boing, 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 boing. Just forget them. They don't really do any harm because they feed on decomposing matter. Well, first of all, there shouldn't be that much in your pot. And if there is, because your media is getting a bit old, they don't really do any harm, but they are annoying. I wouldn't worry too much about them. Right, scroll down again. Where were we? As an Italian mama, I have a very difficult time not feeding. I don't know. It's a subject I could spend my life explaining and still never achieve the goal. It's everybody to their own, really. But don't feed stuff that isn't growing. That's the main thing, is to consider your plant. The flipping thing's not growing in any shape or form. No spikes, no roots, no pseudo-bulbs, nothing going on. And don't feed it. When something's going on, give it some food. And if it's vigorous, give it quite a bit of food. If it's trickle type growth, not so much. It's a difficult subject. Somebody giving me some examples of cooler cattleyas. Yeah, good stuff. Isa, don't apologise for that little bit of wine. Have you ever heard me apologise for having wine? Somebody had a right moan about that a while ago, and I had people leaping to my defence. It's the channel. It's part of me. It's what I do. It doesn't happen till later in the afternoon. Some days it's when I have my meal, which is long after I've finished messing about with YouTube and stuff. It's not something we're doing at 5 o'clock in the morning when we get up. That's coffee time. But it is something I enjoy most days. And that's how it is. It ain't going to change. Right, back to the other side of the screen now. Where are we? Insert again. Aiming to finish the archery course. You know, I read that and missed the point. Totally sorry. Aiming, you know. Anyway, the archery course yesterday was tiring, enjoyable, but tiring. I was on my feet most of the day, and luckily it was hazy sun, not bright sun, because I took my hat, which is, I'll go and get it. You haven't seen the new hat yet, have you? No. Let's break my neck. Right, this is the new hat. And a guy from Bournemouth Orchid Society when I was at Melbourne came up and he said, "You sure you got enough denim on there, but jeans, the shirt, and now the hat," because it's a new hat. This was bought to keep the sun out of my eyes, which I thought was ideal for archery. And at the start, where they were introducing everybody and everything, he said, "Well, unfortunately, sir, your hat isn't going to work. When you try and get your string, you're gonna have to do that." And I said, "Well, I'm not doing that because I look like a 14-year-old freaking kid on a skateboard." So I didn't wear my hat, but luckily it was hazy sunshine and I didn't need it. Did get a bit of a glow, I must admit. The face is a bit of a glow. Anyway, so that's the new hat, and it keeps the sun out of my eyes, and there's a bonus. Because it takes the sun off of my glasses, they don't go as dark, so I can see a bit better. Can't go wrong with New York though. Basically, there were lots of hats and they had all sorts of things on them, and I thought, well, That's something that lots of people have, even though they've never been there, have no intention of ever going there, and know nothing about it, but they still have it on their t-shirt and their sweatshirt and all that sort of stuff. And I wanted something that looked old and a bit like it's been around a while. I didn't want it to look like I'd just gone out and bought a brand new hat for the archery course. That's why I got that one. Right. So where did we get to? I've got the archery course again next Saturday. So second part of the course. Right. We've now got to Suzamp.9789. Huge fan of fragrant orchids. What are your top 3 fragrant orchids in your collection at this time that you would recommend? That's difficult because some of the orchids I've lost as a consequence of changing environments would have been on that list, but they're gone now, so I can't say I have them anymore. But you've got Radiata. Let's go and get a plant. We haven't looked at a plant yet, have we? Now this is just coming into bloom now. Whoops, chuck it on the floor, why don't you? See, now this is an example of a plant that you can't say what to do. What stage of progress is this in? We have new growths coming up. We have spikes. It's in active growth, but it's doing spikes and new growths. So when you get to these people who say, do you use a specific fertilizer for growth and a separate one for spikes? Well, what one are you going to use there? And the simple answer is, no, I don't. These bloom booster things don't work that well. This is, I think it's currently called a Prosthetia, but they keep messing about with the names on this genus. So this is Radiata. I currently have 3 spikes coming. I went to Burnham's with Hannah at one point, and all of their specimen radiatas were in the orchid paradise in full bloom. Hannah had to leave the room because the fragrance was so overpowering, it was messing with her head. She was starting to get a headache and feeling a bit not good. I love the fragrance on this, but this is probably one of the most powerful fragrances of all orchids. Prosthetia radiata. So that's one. Ow! Oh, my back hurts. The bending down is not so good at the moment. It will get better eventually. I'll live. Right, so that's number 1. Number 2, I would say, that I do still have examples of, I'm not going to dig them out, are zygopetalums. Most zygos are highly fragrant. They react to light. So in the morning, they need to change light intensity from overnight to morning light to getting brighter to suddenly getting a bit brighter than that, and they will chuck that fragrance out. So they're light sensitive for the fragrance, but it's powerful, it's pleasant, it's, well, they vary, but it's a pleasant fragrance I've come across all counts. If you want a fragrance that you will have to chuck out in the garden because it stinks to high heaven and you do not like it, then go for some of the bulbophyllums, because some of them smell like rotting flesh, some of them smell like poo, some smell like both of those things together, something that's died and pooed itself as it died. Some of those are evil, and it's to attract flies, they're pollinators, so it has a purpose. But nice fragrance, I would suggest, we've done 2, third one, brassicas. Brassicas have a very strong fragrance, again, when that light level changes relatively suddenly into brighter conditions. And they are, you would have to class them as slightly spicy. They have a spicy tang to them, but nonetheless it's pleasant. Hello, Mojo's woken up. You can hear him in the background, no doubt. So we're going to have the hat's going to be the talking point now, not the orchids and not the questions. If it had the Yankees or the Rangers, even better. Don't forget, I'm not American. I don't follow American football. I don't follow the baseball and the basketball, all that sort of stuff. And we don't, that doesn't happen much over here. We have our own sort of sports. It's all bloody football and cricket. Oh, yawn. I mean, we do have basketball teams and stuff like that. I don't think we have much baseball going on here, though. And our football is not like your football. It's totally different. We have rugby instead of... That's the closest to your type of football, where people run into each other and upend them and all that sort of stuff. It's just that our guys don't have all the padding and the shields and the frames and all that sort of stuff. They just bash into each other. You know, I think I've dislocated my shoulder. Don't worry, mate, I'll walk it off. Not go and cry on the sidelines. Right, where did we get to? That's the fragrant orchids, right. Oh, same person, another question. Frown. You have as many as you like, I don't mind. I'm only mucking about. Do you still grow any black-haired dendrobium types? If so, what species do you have? Did you ever grow Dendrobium christianum? Well, the answer to the last bit is no, simple one. I have several black-haired types. I've got Trigonopus, that's currently doing nothing. It was in bloom when I bought it last year at Malvern. I've got Infundibulum, which is currently in bloom right up the back of the grow room, and I'm not digging it out. And I have a beautiful hybrid that's currently at Malvern in the display, so I can't show it to you. So yes, I do still have some. The ones that I miss more than anything are Senili, Mr. Hairy as it was known as. I must get another one of those and try again. I think its long-term demise was geared up to my heat. It does tend to grow in cooler environments, so it might do better now. And the other one, I can't remember the name off the top of my head, but there was another one that was mounted that did well for a few years and then just collapsed. So a lot of the black hair types do not suit this environment, and they're the ones up the warmer end because they just will not take the cold. But there are some that will put up with it, and I may try and replace some. So I do still have a couple. But Infundibulum and Trigonopus. What else? Actually, there's another one somewhere lurking. What is it? Oh, I've forgotten. It's on a mount. I can't think what it is. Let's see if I can find it. Nope. But there's 3 or 4 lurking around anyway. So yes, I do still have some. Right. Oh, this is the last one. Hello, I have... This is good because this got rejected. This got put in the, you can't have this. This is in the pending thing. And it's all geared up to where you put your full stop in your sentences. Because if you don't leave a space after your full stop, it treats the word before the full stop and the word after as a website. And it will reject it, and it goes in my reject folder, and I have to go and have a look in there and see what's there and think, it's just a typo. No worries. Anyway, this is, oh God, Victor Jastrump, I think that might be pronounced, with an F on the end. I don't know what that's for. 528. Right, I have questions.how, and that's become a website effectively, so it's got rejected. That's how it happened anyway. How can I determine which Oncidium hybrid I bought? I bought one that is tagged like Odontoglossum, but I think that it's mislabeled because the flowers look like some Oncidium hybrid. Good luck with that. You'll never know. If it hasn't got a valid tag on it with a name or a hybrid name, you can spend a long time trying to look up blooms on Google Images to find one that matches exactly, and then you'll find 3 that look exactly the same and they've all got different names. It's not possible, I would say, to get an exact match. Unless somebody else... Hello? What do you want? Hey, look, we're live. You can come and say hello. Come on. Come and say hello to people. He's just woken up. Who's that then in there? All those people, eh? He's all dozy, he's all bleary-eyed, he's just woken up, been asleep for a while. Come on then, let's let you out. Come on. Ugh. Go on then. stopped raining, so he's okay. If it was raining, he'd get half out and stop and turn around and he'd back in. He won't. He will go out occasionally in the rain, but not very often. Right, where did I get to? What was I doing? Totally distracted then. Right, the Oncidium intergeneric environment is vast because of the Oncidium alliance, Brassias, Miltonias, Miltoniopsis, Oncidiums themselves, Brassias. There are many genera in that alliance and they all hybridize together. Most of that is done by the mass producers. They will not register a name because by doing so, they let everybody know that what went into the cross. So other people could have a go at it as well. And they don't like that because they want the sales. So many of them are just sold as Oncidium or Orchid or Houseplant because they don't want you to know. You will occasionally go on, Google Images and look through, you can just put in Oncidium type or something and just scroll through the reams and reams of photos and suddenly you'll think, that's mine, I've got it. And then you have a look at the image and it hasn't got a name. It's not an easy task, quite honestly. It's the nature of the game of the sales of the mass producers. They don't want registered names. They will make up a name. They will call it Cambria. That's a popular one. That is meaningless. It means nothing. But you will also get caught out because odontoglossums tend to have a look about them. But then if you have a quick look it up on Odontoglossum naeviem and have a look at that bloom and it looks nothing like Odontoglossums. It looks more like a Brassia. So there will always be variables. It'll always catch you out. I've got people saying hello to Mojo now. Send the rain north. You're going to get, if you're north in the UK, you're going to get some. Looking at all the green and the dark blue that's heading up country, you've got the south coast with the Isle of Wight, the little diamond shaped bit, and I'm just to the left of that. And it's going to go just to the right of the Isle of Wight and give it some, and then it's all going to merge together, and the Midlands and the North are going to get some. Am I going to get some? Am I hell? It's just the way it goes. I seem to be in a rain shadow. You can look that one up as well. All right, I hate to think how long this has been going on. It's been going on probably over an hour, and it's now gone 5 o'clock in the evening. Therefore, it's my tea time. And we have a nice rump steak, some fries and some sweet corn tonight. The first sensible meal that I've sat down to for several flipping days, which is why I opened a bottle of nice wine. Yeah, so hope the bonsais are well. Yes, despite me having to water the flipping things every day, they are doing okay. I am pleased this year with the progress on the bonsais. A couple should have been repotted and I missed my window, but in the main, those that needed repotting got done. So this year they're generating a nice vibrant root system. They're getting some strength into them by being allowed to grow rather than keep trimming them. Let them grow. All that growth generates roots. Roots generate growth. It's a cycle on trees, that's the way they work. So yeah, we're doing okay. The bonsai are looking good. Haven't had rain in so long. Yeah, well, I'm in the same sort of boat. Right, I will cut it off there. Thanks for people that have joined me. Usual Sunday stuff. Thanks for the patrons. Thanks for the membership to the channel. Thanks for the subscribers. Thanks for the people who do the thumbs up. And thanks for people who leave comments. It's all helping the channel grow slowly but surely. As long as it's growing, the speed doesn't matter to me. Yeah, so we're doing okay. And I will work out why the hell this decided to go portrait and not landscape. Because next time I do this, I want it landscape. Because this looks like a short. You can't have a short that's over an hour long. And you know, when you're watching on a big TV screen or something, a portrait video is no use to anybody, no use to man or beast. But I didn't have time to mess with it because the start time came up too quick. So apologies for that. Yeah, thanks for joining me. It's been a bit of fun, multitasking, watching me on the phone, looking over here at the questions. Alongside, we've got the comments coming in against the video that's on the phone. So we've got 3 things on the go all at once. Now we'll go and finish that glass of wine and get myself some tea. So thanks for joining me, and I'll see you again in a week. And another apology on the end. Days have got out of step. We missed Everything in Bloom on the 8th. Sorry, but there isn't much. We also didn't do our project Orchids on Friday because I was out all day at Malvern. So there's a few things gone missing. I will try and catch up this week. Although we do have one day that's going to be a bit of a bummer, as they say, but so be it. Right. Thanks for joining me. I'm cutting off now. So bye everybody. Thanks. See you next time.